Welcome to Legacy Lounge, the podcast where you'll discover how to lead with purpose and build a legacy that matters. So if you're ready to step into your full potential, show up authentically for yourself and others, and create a lasting impact on the world, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Hello and welcome back to a very special episode here on the Legacy Lounge. I am blessed to be introducing our guest today, Jen Aks. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her before we roll through today's interview because she is just quite the impressive lady. But on top of that, she is navigating a ton right now. And I know that this message will resonate with a lot of you as listeners. So today I am joined by Jen, a speaker and author who coaches people to reconnect with their body's wisdom as the foundation of authentic leadership. With over 30 years as a dance educator and somatic expert, Jen has created the Power of Gesture, a groundbreaking practice that helps leaders process their emotions, break limiting patterns, and trust their inner guidance. And her new book is launching this month, September 30th, and she is here to share how listening to our bodies can transform how we lead. Talk about a kickoff. Jen, welcome.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
So much good stuff is going on in your world. And before we dive into a little bit more in-depth conversation, I would love to just do a personal check-in. And I think for the listeners here, getting a bird's eye view of kind of what all is on your plate. I know from our conversation, you're in the middle of some major life transitions, including a new book coming out in a couple weeks, but a newly empty nester, some recent moves, and just how you're navigating all of the change right now. How are you doing? How are you feeling? What's going on?
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I love your energy. I love your platform. I love what you're doing. And I'm so happy to be here. You know, there is a lot going on. I am an empty nester. I've written this book. I'm in total launch mode. I didn't even know what that was until like a few months ago. It's just been, it's really great. There's a lot of emotions. I'm moving as well. You know, we all navigate so many things. I'm not alone in this. I know we carry so much, our families, our jobs, our experiences, relationships. And that is why this work is so important. This is about, the work that I do is about really returning to the body, remembering that this is the greatest source of guidance that we have. And so often we're looking outside of ourselves. I'm guilty too. We've all done it. You know, it's just the conditioning of life, and it's our life experience, and it's what we've been taught. And there's so much pressure, and there's so many voices coming at us all the time. It's really hard to navigate. But I'm here to say it. I'm here to be everybody's champion and remind people that the wisdom that they're looking for the answers that they need is within. And people might be like, oh, okay, whatever, like, what is that? And I can explain what that is, but that is just the truth. And it is grounded in research. This is not like some woo-woo, let's just, you know, body set, which is my work, you know, really the body, we'll talk about that. But it's not just about that breathing and that body set. It's really rooted in research and science. So I just really want people to know that. And so what we're going to talk about today and explore has, there's just so much to back it up. So
I absolutely love all of this. And a champion for listening to your body is exactly who you are and what you do and what you amplify in every room you walk into. And I know my listeners have heard my personal story of ignoring my body and on knowing that the signs were there and choosing not to see them until I no longer had a choice, you know? And I do think the more that I learn and I listen to the work that you're putting out in the world, one, it continues to teach me current day, the science behind why this matters so much, and that you can upkeep it. You can predict what's going to happen. You can tap into yourself and prevent things from getting so far off track like I did years ago. Yeah. But I also think that you're living a living example of being inside the chaos of balancing all of these big life changes and still staying rooted not only in what you teach, but in the way that you live. And I think as a dancer for over 30 years, first of all, that's incredibly impressive. And for those that have zero experience in dance, it's also really tough on your body. And I think what's unique about what you teach is realizing inside the body awareness that there's actually a leadership tool in that. And if you listen and tap into it, the gift that it can give you. So when did you start to realize that side of tying body awareness into a leadership tool as it's in and of itself?
Yeah, I love that so much. So the first thing that I'll say is the dance piece. Yes, I have that as my background, and that's part of the story and part of the answer. And what I do does not require anyone to dance, even for a second. So if you're listening and you're like, oh, I'm not a dancer, check out. That's not what this is. So I'll explain and it will make sense. So I really appreciate that question. You know, it really starts back in the classroom when I was younger. I struggled a lot in school, and I just didn't learn the traditional way. I didn't learn the way the information was being presented. It was presented in a logical, mathematical manner. And that wasn't anything that aligned with how I learned. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't understand it, but I knew that I wasn't making those connections. And society said, or based or defined intelligence on your SAT scores, and I did terrible on those. So I just really created the story that I wasn't smart. So that wreaked havoc on my soul, and it created such debilitating self-doubt for a very long time, almost 2 decades. But during that time, that's when I found dance. And dance kept me grounded. It kept me feeling safe. I didn't know why until I did the research. And this is starting to creep toward using our body as a leadership tool. I had no idea. I just knew I did not feel smart, and I had dance keeping me grounded. Then later in life, in my late 20s, I found the work of Howard Gardner, who was a Harvard professor and a psychologist, and Daniel Goleman, who was a science journalist and psychologist. Both men wrote a ton of books and have done a ton of research on multiple intelligences, 2 of which we all uniquely have. One is kinesthetic intelligence. So that is our body's physical ability to move and process and learn and express through movement, and emotional intelligence, which is our natural ability to connect to our emotions and have the awareness of others. Okay, so blending and connecting these 2 forms of intelligence, all of a sudden I was awoke. You know, my life changed, and I was like, oh, there's actually, and they Howard Gardner studies and researched 9 forms, but these were the 2 that I really aligned with. And I was like, just learn kinesthetically, and I can process through emotions, and I can communicate. So it all just started to unfold and make sense. I started to develop and find that leader within me because I was starting to gain my confidence again. A huge part of myself, which really became the foundation of my confidence. And I built from there. I'll stop there for a second because I feel like you might want to say something.
No, I absolutely love this. And my audience is very well versed in the impact of emotional intelligence as a leader. But what I think is incredibly interesting is the layers of how you braided these together, and that emotional intelligence is a piece of it. Yes, but there's actually so much more to that picture. And
Yeah.
I also love what you mentioned around the SAT scores and how we deem education levels, right, from a test score. And I was terrible at taking tests. My SAT scores, my ACT scores, I don't even remember what they are because I had to black them out of my life. It was so bad. But I told myself this narrative: I'm not good at math. I'm not good with numbers. I'm not a good test taker. And not only my self-image changed, I was feeding that narrative of nailing my self-esteem over and over again. And I didn't recognize the freedom in learning what style works for you. And I love where this conversation is going. So I know at the beginning I mentioned the power of gesture.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about that? And what is a body set? What is the missing piece to the mindset? Any highlights or insights you'd like to provide there without giving everything away?
I love it. I love your questions. You're so clear. It's beautiful. So yes. So I'll pick up where I just left off because it will feed into the power of gesture. After I dove very deep into this research and it empowered and restored my own confidence, I started working in the public school system in New York City, empowering children through the arts, working for an organization that truly teaches children through the arts, teaches curriculum through the body, with the voice, through music and poetry and dance. And I was like, oh my gosh,
That is incredible.
Right?
Yes.
It was divinely timed because it was after I found this research. Then I was like, oh, now I get to go do that. So I did that for close to 2 decades. And I not only healed myself, right? I healed but I empowered thousands of children and hundreds of teachers because I became one of their trainers because I love this methodology so much. And I thought, okay, my impact will be greater if I teach the teachers to then go teach the children. So I did all of that for a very long time, really got whole, really felt confident. COVID hit. Everything shuts down. We're all in the Zoom space. We are at a time of, as you know, so much angst, so much fear, so much worry, shut down. It was a desperate time, and I knew that I could help. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I knew that I could create something with the body. Having been a dance educator for over 30 years, a movement practitioner, and someone that is deeply rooted in a lot of this research with the body, I was like, I'm going to do something. So what I did know was that I wanted to stay close to the camera so I could look into their eyes and feel their emotions. So I asked them to embody their emotions with their hands. You know, fear, angst, overwhelm, whatever it was. And there were hundreds of gestures. And I saw that exact thing. I saw the fear and then the clarity, and then the angst and then the calm. These gestures allowed us to activate our kinesthetic intelligence, the hands, and our emotional intelligence, the emotions we were feeling, and create this modality that allowed those two to blend together and empower the clarity, the calm, so that people could really get realigned and figure out what it was they needed to do for themselves. And so I kept saying that there's so much power in gesture. There's so much power in gesture. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I started doing research because I was watching hundreds of people transform with this practice. And there was tremendous research that I found related to the brain-hand connection. And that, I'll tell you one fact, that there are over 40,000 nerve endings in the hands that send direct signals to the brain all day long on a feedback loop. So that's why we can shift how we feel pretty quickly. And that's just one. There's a lot of science behind it. So this became my practice, the power of gesture. It's a somatic-based body set, which I'll share, experience. And it is a practice that helps us awaken our intelligence, listen to it, learn how to be guided by it, and trust where it's taking us. It's incredible. And it was really birthed with all of these people that trusted me to take them on a journey when I had no idea where we were going.
Yeah. And it has blossomed. Like that individual seed of saying, I really enjoy this and I'm curious about it, and continuing to invest in yourself to become a teacher of the teachers and expand your own knowledge around it. I had no idea that there were over 40,000 signals sent daily between the brain and the hands, but it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I think the power in the gesture is also so powerful when in a virtual world, you're asking people to come in. Like,
Yeah.
look into the camera, lean into the distance physically so that we can still connect on a deeper level together. And you can then tap into yourself and listen to what your body is saying.
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. And this is a great segue to body set. So we are always thinking about mindset. We're always, there's a million books out there and they're great. Don't get me wrong. I've read many of them and I love a lot of the practices. And there has been and is a missing intelligence that we don't pay enough attention to, which is body set. That is the real complement to mindset. Our body knows so much before our mind even does. Our body holds the memories, holds the feelings, and our feelings, our sensations, our emotions are information. It's not just, oh, I'm feeling this way. We dismiss our feelings. We're being too emotional, especially women. It's just not true. This is actually information. These are signals being sent to our body to communicate to us what it is that feels good, what relationships we want to be in, what relationships we want to lead. It's time to start a new job or start a family or step into our power. Like, our body knows. And then we bring the mind in. Too often we start up here and we get in our own.
Yes, yes, yes. I cannot wait for this episode to come out, because this right here is a moment where I would tag an episode and come back to and listen and listen and listen, because there is so much information waiting to be discovered and seen and felt and connected through our bodies. And it is more than just mindset. It is an important tool. And there's so many benefits and styles and types that you can have to create a strong mindset, but it has to be the full package, which includes your body and your body set. This is amazing. For our listeners, what are some signals that, in your experience, leaders maybe miss when they aren't connected to the body's wisdom, or some signs or signals that maybe they should listen and start to tap into this, that you've seen from those that you work with?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is we tend to just dismiss our feelings. I think many people, not everybody, can feel, they feel sad, they feel anxious, it's the pausing that we're really missing. It's the acknowledgement that this is real and that this is information. So there are a few. I have definitely worked with clients that are like, I don't feel the emotion in my body. So that's a different kind of conversation. But since I mentioned that, I want to say that the way into that, if you're someone who's like, I might be feeling something, I'm not really sure if I am, okay, then that's a really good time to body set, which the body set position in my practice is hand on heart, belly, and close your eyes. And then I'm just going to give you a practical tool here. Is that okay?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. So in that kind of experience, that's the grounding body set, right hand, heart, belly, close your eyes, ground. Then you want to use your imagination to kind of see the experience that's bringing the feeling, or the feeling that you think might be there, or the feeling that you might have missed. You're not sure. Something's off. So using the imagination first, because a lot of times not everyone can feel right away. I can't feel that. So you use your mind to create the image, to see yourself in the experience that you think may have brought it on, the tough conversation you just had. You're confused, you're feeling something. See it, feel it. So this is GI, gift. This is an acronym, actually, that I'm spelling out for you right now. Gift. G is ground, body set. I is imagine. Imagine the experience that might be bringing on the emotion for you. F is feel. Then you can feel it. T is transform. Then we use the gesture to transform. So that's for people that you asked, the people that may miss it or not know. If we start to understand and accept and embrace the fact and it is a fact that how we feel is information that we need to pay attention to, then I think we won't miss it as much because we might start taking it seriously. All we have to do is think about our friends or our children, right? If they're feeling something, we're not going to say, oh, that's nothing. We're going to lean in at humans to say, talk to me. What is that about? Why wouldn't we do that for ourselves? We need to give ourselves the same consideration. So I'm not sure if I answered your question specifically. I kind of threw a lot out there right there.
No, that right there, GIFT, unsolicited gift that you just gave all of us. And I love this example personally. And I didn't think we'd go in this direction today, but when you mentioned pause as a prior Fortune 30 retail senior director, it was go, 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 go all the time. And when I knew something was going on, it's because my body was now screaming for help. Yes. And after that, and I chose to walk away from that environment and rebuild my own self-identity and my self-worth and my self-esteem. The first thing I did was actually get a pause tattoo on the inside of my arm. So if you're watching this on our YouTube video, I literally got this pause sign for myself, and my husband has one too. And it is my personal reset button. And it's a moment and a physical reminder for me to pause and to feel, because I have been wired and trained to just go. And 100 miles an hour is my baseline. I'm like 180 all the time. And what I recognized is as I started doing work through a lot of different avenues, from therapy to psychiatrists to the yoga studio to self-reflection, all of what you are so beautifully articulating is what it came down to that actually worked for me, including hand on heart and stomach and my eyes closed and feeling close to me. And I was that person that I couldn't feel because I had ignored it for so long. And so I know I just went on a little tangent there, but
I'm so with you.
The power of pausing has personally offered me a gift that is just, it keeps giving. And I think that the work that you're doing is articulated in such a way that brings both the ideology and the science to back the power in our bodies. And you do it in such a simplified way that it just, and I hope every listener here connects with you, follows the work that you're doing, and gets your book that's coming out soon to also be able to tap into themselves and to learn about their inner guidance, because there is so much power in that, and it's just waiting to be unlocked. And it's scary to do something very different that's different than your style, or that some of your friends may be like, that's crazy, that's way woo. I'm telling you firsthand. Some people's jaws drop when I tell them I still am obsessed now with the yoga studio. You would never see me by myself with my own thoughts for 30 seconds, let alone minutes at a time, to listen and to really understand what I want to do, where I want to go, and how I want to feel. So this is just, I love the work that you are doing. This is incredible.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. It sounds like you've been doing this work for a really long time. I'm putting a frame around it. I'm providing a practice, that is accessible, you're right, and simple to master, but it's not simple because it requires vulnerability and courage to lean into our emotions and our truth. And that's not easy. And kudos to you for doing that and for really acknowledging and pressing that pause. I mean, that's such a beautiful tattoo. That really, really is, and so incredible. There is so much power in the pause, but we just go a million. And it's so interesting because I know also as a teacher for so many years, developing curriculum, sometimes I would find, curriculum that I'm teaching through the body, by the way, but that's a whole other conversation. But developing whatever I was developing, myself getting caught up in listening listening to other people, talking, doing the research, when really the curriculum was inside of me. To pause and to ask, what is it that I want to teach these children? What is it that I want to teach these teachers? What is it that they need to know? There's so much information inside of us that can really drop in and guide our lives. And this is not woo-woo. This is rooted in research. So I hope people start to really see that, understand that. And you know what? It's okay. So a lot of people need that in order to lean in. And I get it. And there's a lot of the research in my book.
Yes, I am so excited to get my hands on a copy of this. So on that note, your book comes out September 30th. Who needs to read this and why? And what is your vision for how this work can support leaders?
Yeah.
So I'll start with this. I define leaders as anyone that's influencing another human, right?
Yes, you heard it here.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So when I say
Leadership coach or leaders, empowered leaders, I'm talking about mothers leading children. I'm talking about teachers leading students, coaches leading athletes, CEOs leading companies, managers leading teams, all of it, and self-led. Our own self leading ourselves. I believe we are all leaders in our own right. That is what leadership means to me. Who needs this work? People that are in contemplation about where they're going, what they're doing. Can they trust themselves? Do they know what their next step is? And even if they feel it, is it right? Is my mother gonna? When we're in that moment of transition, of thought, of confusion, of contemplation, small or large, divorce or just moving down the street, whatever it is, that's who needs this work. Because we have the answers within us. We don't need so many external voices. Sure, having a friend once in a while and a therapist here and there, all that stuff, I get it. I've used it, I still do. And at the end of the day, this is where it is. This is where all the answers are. So those are the people. So if someone's listening to this and they're just struggling with where they are in their life.
Oh, this is amazing, Jen. I could go on and on with you. Thank you. Thank you, like you said, for providing a framework, because this is not, the work itself is not simple. It is hard, and it takes dedication, and it takes repetition, and it takes a lot of courage to be as vulnerable as it requires you to be, to get tapped into yourself. But that is also where the power lives. And I can't wait to get my hands on a copy of this. I cannot wait to amplify the work that you are doing and continue to do. And I would be remiss if I do not ask you, where can our listeners best connect with you? I will include your information in the show notes, along with how to follow along for the book launch. But where is the best place for people to connect with you, follow along the work you do, a specific socials, website, anything like that you want to provide before we close out the episode?
Sure. So I'm on Instagram a lot because I really love seeing people. I like watching and interacting in that way. So that's where I am most of the time, Instagram. But everything I do pretty much goes out to Facebook, LinkedIn. I have a website, www.jenaks.com. You can find the book there. You can find all the things there. And always feel free to email me, jen@jenaks.com. All in for anyone that feels like this resonates, that this message resonates. I have a free 30-minute class every single Tuesday on Zoom at 11 o'clock Eastern. And it's a way for people to really experience the power of gesture. And don't worry, don't be afraid. It's okay. It's like this light touch. It's just a little like appetizer kind of thing. So come and experience it. The power of gesture is fun because I want to say that it's not just these dark emotions that we're living with, the spectrum, the joy that we want to amplify even more, the alignment that we want to fine tune, the clarity that we want to bring into even more focus. So it's all there. It's all there to uplift, and there's music, and it's joyful, and it's a practice for sure.
I love this, and I will definitely be catching one of those Tuesday classes. And
Yes.
I hope to see some of our listeners attend as well.
Yeah.
I've got one final question for you, and I understand this is a very big one, and it evolves and changes. But as a leader, I love the way that you said this, because I too believe the same thing. A person as a leader is someone in a role that influences others. You're being watched, looked at, listened to all the time. And in the work that you are doing and in the becoming of you and in evolving over time yourself, what do you hope that your leadership legacy represents through the work that you do? What do you want your legacy to be?
It's a beautiful question, and it is a big one. And I think if I could see the world tuning in to themselves more often than being guided by external forces, I do believe that we will be more aligned, more compassionate, forgiving, accepting as a whole, which then will have this massive ripple effect to peace and acceptance and love on a much broader scale. I also think that it will create so much innovation because our creativity will be activated if we give ourselves the opportunity to live our truth. It's inevitable that we're going to want to create and extend our truth from outside of us. And only we, only you, only each individual can do that. So I think there is a potential here and possibility for a lot of unique and abundant innovation.
I could not agree more. And I want to thank you for also having your print on this work and amplifying it across the world. I know I've gotten to see you on a stage and listen to you and watch the rooms that you're in. And that mark of leaving the gift of teaching how to tap into yourself is priceless. And I want you to know that from coast to coast, this girl's rooting for you. And I know a lot of other people are as well. And just thank you for sticking to the work that you're so passionate about, but that is also a true gift to give and teach someone else that stays with them for life. This has been an incredible conversation. Thank you for your time. Any closing thoughts that you'd like to leave the audience with?
Whenever you feel anxious, worried, whatever the thing is, say to yourself, body set. And then just go.
Body set. I love it.
Body set. That's it. Body set. That's it. As soon as it will interrupt the cycle where you're nervous. It's just, body set. That's what I'm leaving you with.
Love this. Well, thank you for many gifts in this episode. And I look forward to catching you on one of the Tuesday sessions and to following along your journey, including the book launch on September 30th. Thank you, Jen, so much for sharing your wisdom and your work with the Legacy Lounge. And we look forward to rooting for you from across the coast. That's it for this episode of Legacy Lounge, a podcast dedicated to empowering you to lead with purpose. Remember, leadership begins with you. When you're connected to your values, strengths, and authentic self, you show up powerfully for your team, businesses, and everyone you lead. To authentically lead others, you must first lead yourself. I challenge you to consider, how are you investing in your personal growth to create a legacy that you envision? Thank you for joining me in the Legacy Lounge. If this episode sparked any thoughts or inspired action, I'd love to hear from you. I'm your host, Brenna Rollins-Williams. Connect with me on LinkedIn or other socials and let's continue the conversation. Remember, your legacy is built one intentional step at a time.